Hi, it's your girl Red Rose Abba Missionary, and I would like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. I'm saying your girl, but today I have the special guest.
Gabby GP of Missionary was good.
Yes, my husband of how many years? 7 years and some days. Yeah, some days. So anyways, so welcome to This is Married and Mastering, and this is the video number 4 that you are doing. So we've realized that we've learned quite a lot from the 7 years that we believe that you can be impacted from it. We refuse to just enjoy our marriage and forget about the whole world. We know that a lot of lessons that we've learned from our marriage that has made our marriage perpetual honeymoon can be used, to beautify your marriage, to restore your marriage, to heal your marriage to the glory of His name, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yes. So
to make yours 10 times better.
Definitely 10 times better. And I just received, someone had put up a post, some sort of status or post, I've forgotten, and they were talking about how all the people that talk about the nice stuff about marriage are pretending. So someone was showing me to say, look what these people, this person wrote. Apparently there were a couple of people, it was on a page, I don't know, and they were saying that, look, they're saying everyone who's showcasing a happy marriage like us, because we like to put,
I do it too.
I like to put a lot of photos of our stories and lessons about our marriage. They said, you're pretending. And to be honest, like I didn't get offended, but I just felt pity for people that think like that, because I'm sure they've gone through stuff. I'm sure they've never been exposed to a godly marriage, to happy marriages, what I mean? And I don't blame them for concluding.
And also, the thing is, people out there, even ourselves, we do go through challenges, but we're not going to sit here and start focusing on our challenges, okay? The challenges are there, but what is important is the bigger picture.
Yes.
Okay? And the truth of the matter is, if you're going to help people out, it's about showing them what the complete and whole thing should look like, so that even when they have to deal with challenges, they have a vision in mind.
Great.
So we are dealing with these challenges so that we can build this beautiful castle over there. So you don't concentrate on the cracks on the wall, you don't concentrate on the hole in the ceiling, you concentrate on the finished product that's on the billboard. Say, I am building towards that marriage. So those people are obviously just picking on the bottlenecks and the potholes of the journey, as opposed to focusing on the bigger picture.
Yes, and that's one of the things we are passionate about, showcasing godly marriages. I like to tell people that everything you see on Facebook, how we celebrate each other and stuff like that, is just a tip of the iceberg, because we've realized that if we don't show that it's possible to have perpetual honeymoon, it's possible, like Jesus, to sleep when there's a storm. You know what I mean? It will be difficult for the world to have hope that there is, because marriage is God's idea. And the Bible says every good and perfect gift comes from
God above.
And marriage is the only institution that is likened to the relationship between Christ himself, God himself and the church. So do you think that God would give us a gift that is below par?
Definitely
you know what I mean? So, and we do understand that marriage takes work, you know what I mean? Like you talked about how we've had our own challenges, but we don't magnify those challenges, because God has given us the ability to come up with the solutions. You know what I mean? And we don't have to do that, because the Holy Spirit says, even when we are failing to pray, the Holy Spirit prays for us. So for those people that believe that, oh my goodness, marriage is hard, it's impossible to be happily married, we are here to challenge you that give God a chance.
That's it.
And I think most of the people that do that, they've just given up and they are lazy. It's like building a house. It's a lot of work. But you can imagine when the house is finished, you get to celebrate. Anyways, I thought we should start with that. But today we are looking at a very interesting topic. That is how we keep our fire burning.
That's it.
You know, and personally, like, I look back and I'm like, oh my goodness, we've been married for 7 years. Like 7 years, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've just been chilling and, you know, playing rap music, kicking it. But you look back and say, oh, 7 years. And then before you think, oh, you know, everyone else is, you know, going through what you're going through, like enjoying marriage, then you get to be exposed, because you and I have opportunities to mentor different marriages, couples and so on. You get to see that actually
there's some work that needs to be done.
There's some work that needs to be done, you know. And so today we want to talk about
keeping the fire ablaze.
Yes.
So what do we mean exactly by keeping a fire burning? Okay, so when two people meet, they're in a relationship, you know, they are on fire, they are in this love bubble, you know, like the first time that I, you know, say what's up to my girl, you know what I mean? I was like over the moon every time that I see her, you know, my heart skips a bit and whatnot, you know. So it's that fire that we're talking about, because, you know, people would like to think that fire only lasts, you know,
after honeymoon.
You know, like during honeymoon, you get back home, you know, it's like now you get into this little prison and just start, you know,
existing.
Exactly, you know. And I remember people, you know, passing comments like, you know, we're giving you 4 years, we're giving you 5 years. You know?
And they kept on counting.
That's it.
And
you
we
know?
went to Sorry Baby, and I remember when I was telling people about how awesome my husband is, our marriage, blah, 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 they would ask me, and every time I told them I was under 5, they'd be like, oh my goodness, let's give them time. And guess what? When I clocked 5 years in marriage, I went and looked for them. You know, I was like, what do you have to say? I'm no longer in diapers. I'm over 5 years in marriage. And this is 7 years. And personally, I'm still feeling like we're in a relationship.
That's it right there. And so, you know, it doesn't come without any effort. You know, it's not something that you just sit there and wish and hope, you know, that it's going to culminate into something beautiful. You know, it's something that the two of us have identified that I have a part to play in it, she has a part to play in it. And thank God for our mentors, thank God for our premarital counseling, you know, thank God for the continuous exposure that we get to couples that have been married longer than us, you know, and they're still making it work. Those are some of the reference points that we get. So we know that keeping that fire burning is not, you know, going to come easy. It's something that we are going to be deliberate about, and that's exactly what we've been doing. And those are some of the nuggets that, you know, we'd like to share with you. So,
I wanted to start maybe by saying that you know, every marriage is unique. Every marriage has a blueprint. You know what I mean? In as much as, you know, you can learn from other people, but you need to build your own marriage. You need to consult God on what your marriage is about. What is the purpose of your marriage? You know what I mean? I like some of the young people I used to mentor, others are now married. You know, they'll tell me, you know, even me, I want to get married to someone like Paps. You know, they call him Paps, like Gabby GP. You know, I want to have a marriage like yours. You know, I want a man to do ABCD. And one of the things that I was deliberate about telling them was that pray for God to give you the right partner for you. You know, in as much as our marriage is amazing, the most amazing marriage on the planet, but you can also have the most amazing marriage on the planet according to God's will. So you don't have to copy each and everything that we do to make your marriage successful. You know what I mean? Or to make your marriage fulfilling. You need to get some of the lessons and try to polish them up and see how you can tailor your marriage. For example, my husband makes for me breakfast. You know what I mean? You don't have to say, okay, one of the checklists on the characteristics of the man I want to get married to is a man that will be making for me breakfast. You know what I mean? Maybe you get married to a man that actually changes the whole bedroom for you. Maybe you get married.
Or he will hire an entire restaurant for you and just tell you, say every morning you go have your breakfast.
You get what I'm saying?
You go.
You know? So just because he makes breakfast for me, it doesn't mean that you have to look for that man that makes breakfast. Right. Find a man that maybe will have other amazing traits that you will live to benefit. So marriage is really, really unique. And from the word go, one of the things that I appreciate that we did is starting from our wedding, starting from our relationship. We wanted it to be unique, right? Like we're both hip hop heads. You know, I'm sure people thought that we're not gonna make it because they thought we were just full of energy and zeal without knowledge. You know, but we said we wanted to make it work. Apart from that, even our wedding, remember how people felt a hip hop wedding was not going to be possible? I said I want to get in the the reception with a rap. I want to do it my song. People thought it was not possible. Like most of the stuff that we planned for our wedding, they thought it was not possible. You get it? But we said this is what we want. We're not competing with nobody. We wanted to create a wedding that it was going to satisfy who? Us. All right? And that's what we did with our marriage. So if you are listening to us today, we want you to pray about that right partner that God has set for you. And also, I need you to start to think about, because sometimes when you focus on the wrongs that your partner is doing, you are robbed of the great stuff, the strengths that your partner has. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be making breakfast. It doesn't have to be buying you a car like my husband did. You know what I mean? It could be other stuff.
Yeah, so you also want to make sure that you are deliberate about being your partner's student. Okay?
Wow.
Because you don't, like my wife says, you want to find what works for your marriage. So if you're going to be the best partner to your spouse, you want to be your partner's best student. You want to understand them to the core. What makes them tick? What are their favorite things? What are those things that when they are tired, they bring them back to life? What are those things that they appreciate them? How can you be more sensitive? Okay, so remember that it's not so much about what you are getting. Okay, because whatever it is that you are giving, every sacrifice that you are making is an investment in your partner. I think we learned about the love bank quite early in our relationship.
I don't know which book we read that from.
I think it was His Needs, Her Needs.
Okay.
Look it up. I think it was that one. So there's this principle called the love bank.
And like one of the things we did with my husband, like I always talk about this, is how we invested into knowledge. So that was one of the book we read before we got married. Yes.
Yeah. So the principle really is about whatever it is that you are doing for your partner. That's blessing them emotionally, spiritually, whatever manner. It is investing into your love bank. Okay, and every other time you do something negative, you upset them, something emotionally challenging, it's like you are withdrawing from the love bank. So a series of events that register as withdrawals simply suggest that you need to do a bit more work to reinvest and deposit into the relationship. So there's need for you to just be sensitive about how your bank is functioning, and you can tell from how the relationship is moving, how your conversations are going, how your companionship is going, to say, okay, there's been a bit of a withdrawal here, so I need to put a bit of extra effort into making a deposit. And you can only know that once you are paying particular attention to your partner, you're asking them the right questions, being deliberate about switching off certain things. There are times, when I notice that my wife over here needs special attention. Okay,
I love attention.
It doesn't matter how busy I am. I'll just switch off certain things and I say it's time to give my wife attention. Okay, I am trying to deposit back into that love bank, and those are the small things that sometimes over time culminate into a huge withdrawal or a huge deposit that keeps the wheels turning and the fire burning.
And apart from that, like, it also depends, just to add on, it depends on the kind of withdrawal withdraw and the deposit that you make. So for example, like when we go out for our sort of annual honeymoon, even though it's perpetual, like when we go out on our anniversary, on our birthday, like that's great sort of deposit in our love banks. So we come back with our banks full, you know, and you find that even as we start to work, we go back to work, we go back to our lives. Maybe we spend little time here and there, we start to withdraw here and there, you know, but we've taught ourselves to be very open and honest with each other. So if I see that my husband is a bit busy, he's not giving me attention, or if I become too busy with videos, like, you know, we tell each other, say, I think I need some attention, you know, and the other person, because we understand the love bank, the depositing and withdrawing, we, you know, we know what to do, and we do like we're expected to do. Okay. And maybe whilst you're still on that, you know, I wanted to sorry, before we get to the other part of the 5 love languages, I wanted to talk about on the same depositing and withdrawing. I love how you say that it's not about what you're getting, it's about what you're giving. One of the things that we have benefited so much in our marriage that has made our marriage perpetual honeymoon is how we always try to outshine the other. You know what I mean? Like my husband goes out of his way to impress me, you know, to love me better, and I also go out of my way to love him better. And like that, you find that for me, I'm just like interested, even on birthdays and stuff, I'm interested to just win, you know. And you know, the more you do that, I don't mind if, unless otherwise, but I don't mind if my husband is not doing his part. I'm satisfied and fulfilled that I'm doing my part, you know. So I want us to balance the two between depositing and withdrawing, but as well as having that mentality, having that attitude which wants to just give, you know. I understand that in some other marriages, obviously, they need help because maybe the other partner is doing things that are not biblical and the other partner is just giving. Obviously, when it comes to that part, you need counseling. But we mean when the marriage is, you know, stable and so on. It's important to sort of give, not that you want to get back, but give, because giving is better than receiving. Great. We go to the 5 love languages even as we conclude on this video. Because that is one of the things that has helped us keep the fire burning.
That's it. So there's an amazing book out there. Most of you would have read it by now. Gary Chapman, 5 love languages, or the 5 languages of love, whichever you want to call it. So identifying what languages that your partner appreciates the most is important. Please look the book up, whatever summaries, if you can get that on the internet. Most of you already know them, so it's those languages. We can just share them now.
Yes, quickly.
It's words of affirmation, it's physical touch, it's gifts, it's quality time. And the last one is what? Service, yes, exactly.
Yes, acts of service.
Yeah, so we've had that conversation and we've identified what those languages are.
And they're not the same.
Exactly.
And I wanted to mention that you notice that it's almost easier for me to give the love language that I appreciate to him.
Exactly.
All right, so let me start. For me, quality time. I love quality time. And thank God my husband knows that. That's why on my birthday, on our anniversary, we have to go out. I want to have my husband to myself. You know what I mean? I don't want to be distracted by anything. For me, it's quality time. For me, quality time is not him on the phone. It's not him working. It's not him sleeping. It's him looking in my eyes and chilling and talking. And he understands that. That's why, you know, on my birthday or special occasions, if he wants to make me happy, he takes me out, just the two of us, talk about how we love each other. So I want to say that it's easy for me because I enjoy that, to also think that to impress my husband, I have to take him out. But for him, that's not his number one. Obviously, you arrange them according to order of priority. So for me, at the top, it's quality time. So for example, in as much as I appreciate words of affirmation, I appreciate when he tells me I'm beautiful and so on, but I don't appreciate that as much as I appreciate quality time. Just like I love the acts of service, like how he serves me breakfast, he helps me in my ministry, I love that. But I can't compare that to quality time. So if I was told to drop all of them and remain with one, I would keep quality time, because for me, he shows me that he loves me by spending quality time with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
And for you, what's yours?
For me, I always argue with my wife. So I think at the top it's service and gifts. So that what works for me. And you find that I'm the guy that's always buying gifts. So you want to make sure that you balance that you are not giving what you are desiring to get. And I think we've kind of grown into learning that. So
and
obviously,
also acts of service. You're amazing at that.
Yeah. So it's gifts and acts of service for me. But then that's exactly what I end up giving to my partner. But over the years, with continuous feedback, I'm beginning to learn that it's not necessarily about what I want to get that I should give. It's about what does my partner really appreciate, and it's something that people need to grow into.
Yes.
Because it's not something that you discover, overnight. And lastly, I also just want to say that it's important
before you conclude. I want to say, like, for this one, like, just a practical example. My husband loves, because like his love language is languages. It's acts of service and gifts. So my husband loves it when from every time I come back from work I bring him something. He loves that. And also he loves when I make for him meals. So I find that for me on a Saturday, all I want is maybe to ask someone to do for us meals, so that I'm just with him spending quality time. When in the actual sense, so for me that's quality. That for me that's amazing. But for him, actually what he prefers is for me to be in the kitchen, leaving him alone in the bedroom, being in the kitchen and preparing for him a meal. That's what he loves. So depending on what I want, if on that day I want to impress him, then I have to do what he wants. Leave him in the bedroom, go and prepare like a mocktail, a special meal, and I give him, then I will make him happy. And him, if he wants to make me happy, instead of, for example, going and getting me a gift, he would drag me out for a dinner, and that's it. So it sounds easy, but you really, really, really have to, apart from reading, you really have to practice it, because like I said, you naturally give what you desire. But it's not the right thing to do. You have to give what your partner desires. So it takes a lot of practice, but you will get there. So that's also one of the ways to keep our fire burning. And lastly, baby, I know you wanted to conclude. I wanted to talk about like how you plan for our annual holidays and so on. Like some nuggets, like how do you? I know you do much, that.
So I mean, it's something that you have to decide that you want to do. Of course, once you identify your partner's love language, you want to then begin to think, how do I invest into that? How do I plan so that I balance that out, so that it's not just something that you do one-off and forget about it, okay? Because obviously it's something that you need to sustain over time. So,
and is it easy, like for you, in case someone is watching and say, you guys, me, I'm so busy, we are so busy, we don't have time for each other, we're busy pushing numbers, I would like for you to give them some practical ways of doing that. Like, how have you managed, because you're one of the busiest souls on the planet, how have you literally managed to balance your ministry, your work, which is also your ministry, and church responsibilities and so on? How have you managed to ensure that? And do you even, maybe you are rich, like where do you get those monies from to take me out and stuff like that? Like, I want you to advise someone who's watching right there,
So let's bust that myth for starters, because people think, when you go for vacation, it means you have a lot of money in the bank, etc. Well, thank God for those who've got a lot of money in the bank. I would like to have a lot of money in the bank, know what I mean? So I can take my wife to Barbados.
Yes.
That's what's up, yeah. But alas, we're still here to get there. However, you invest in what you prioritize.
What you prioritize, you find time for. Resources.
You find resources for. It doesn't matter, how long it takes you, especially if you can plan for it. Okay, it gets better. So obviously, for me, I first had to identify what the priority is. Obviously, my wife. My family is my priority. Okay.
Yes. And I'm glad, I'm glad that you understand that. For some people out there, sometimes they get mixed up. They think ministry is a priority.
I think that we should address that in
the next
video.
one.
Yeah. So I have my wife as my priority, and that means that it doesn't matter what expenses I have coming up. I have to set aside money that I know that is going to invest in my wife, because that's something that I need to take care of, and that needs to be sustained over time. So it's a nugget for husbands or spouses out there that, you know, look at it as a priority and make sure that you're planning towards it. You definitely, it doesn't matter how busy you are, you know, you must find the time. You must look up places, okay? Ask people questions. You can ask me, you know, can give you nuggets about, you know, some holiday destinations, places you can hang out, you know. If you plan better, you realize that you don't necessarily need to spend a fortune. You know, you make it happen.
Yes, and also that, like, they're different, like you said, different destinations. So just because my husband took me to wherever doesn't mean that you have to take your wife there. You can even do like a local, you know, like you can work with what you have. You don't have to have a lot of money. That's one of the things we refuse from a long time, to say we won't hinder ourselves because we don't have this money we desire to have. So you can even take your wife, your husband out within Lusaka or one of these lodges that is affordable, nice. You know what I mean? Like Zambia is diverse. You can even go to an area. It doesn't have to be a very fancy area. I think if you're just the two of you and the place is habitable, then, you know, you could do that.
Make it work.
You know what I mean? And I just love the fact that, you know, you have to plan for it. If you're not careful, you become so busy that you become strangers in your own home. So one of the things that we knew is that from the word go, we worked together. We'll talk about that later. But we had to plan, like we are deliberate about being someone's, being each other's sort of sign. Like if I feel that he's running too much at work, if he feels I'm so occupied with this, like we sit down, you know, we have these chats where we talk about where we are at, you know, how much do we have in our love banks, and if you feel, you know, we are running low, then it's an indicator that you need to sort of deposit. And wants to mention that sometimes, no matter how much you love each other, no matter how much you love God, if you don't invest in each other's emotional bank, you'll find yourself in trouble. Those are the people now you start to see that they get emotional support elsewhere, and you're wondering, but how come I'm warming up to this guy? How come I'm warming up to this woman? It's because your bank is empty. Your love bank is empty. So it's really, for us, we understand that in as much as we love Jesus, we are also flesh and blood. So if we can be each other's best friend, if we can satisfy each other's emotional needs, you find that we won't give the devil room to tempt us, because we know we are flesh and blood, right? Yeah, so last words.
Yeah, so last words, it can be done. Start where you are, start with what you've got, and start right now.
Start where you are, start with what you got, and start right now. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in the other video.